Hi, this is Mike Brown, owner of Death Wish Coffee Company. Welcome to Fueled by Deathcast.
I love Java, sweet and hot. Whoop, there's so much drama, coffee and spice.
Death Wish Coffee presents Fueled by Deathcast, the world's strongest podcast. With your hosts, the incredible Jeff and the amazing D-Man.
Welcome, everybody. I am the incredible Jeff.
And I am the amazing D-Man.
And we have a hell of a show for you this week. And it happens to be the final show of 2016.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited for the new year and everything that's to come with the podcast and the company and our personal lives. Everything's good, man.
Yeah, it's really good. Let's jump right in.
All right.
Science!
So, to keep with the end of the year and New Year's right around the corner, I have a little bit of science news to lay on you. For 1 second, at the very end of 2016, time is going to stand still.
Oh, my God.
So, this is what astrophysics is call a leap second. This has happened before. This isn't the first time this has ever happened, but basically,
I've never heard of this happening before.
Basically, what this is this is to compensate for the slowing of the Earth's rotation. And
that's happening?
Mm-hmm. And the extra second will be added at the very end. So at 11:59 and 59 seconds, it will then turn to 11:59 and 60 seconds before it actually turns to 0000, the 12 a.m. Military
Weird.
time. Yes.
So, are all the clocks programmed to handle this?
No. What this is basically there are people who are in charge of this. It is an installation called the International Earth Rotation and Reference Systems Service, and they are based in Paris in an observatory. And what they do is they regulate world time, which is called Coordinated Universal Time, and it's abbreviated UTC. And that is what everything derives its time from. So like all your digital, products and all that stuff. That's where they're gaining the time.
They control
from.
all that.
In a sense, they control what that is. And what this all is from is it's based on atomic time. Now, if you don't know what atomic time is, that is measuring the time based on the frequency of vibrations within an atom. That's where we get our actual concept of time.
Whoa.
Because time is you've probably heard this before, D-Man. Time is relative. And it really is because it's a construct that we created, math and all that stuff. It exists in the world, but we created time. Like if we ever met an alien race, they might have a completely different idea of time.
Whoa. I never thought about that.
Because they might have derived it from a different source. But anyway, I digress.
So we derive it from the vibrations
of an atom called atomic time.
I did not know that.
Well, there you go.
Man.
So leap seconds, like I said, are not a new or a brand new thing. They actually were first introduced in 1972, and there's been 26 different times where this has happened. As close to us as last June, June 30th, 2015. Actually, there was a leap second. But in 2012, this happened, and it broke the internet for a minute.
I'm going to go back for a second.
Okay.
So you're telling me the Earth's rotation is slowing. So a million years ago, did the Earth spin faster?
Slightly, yes.
That's so weird.
Yes. So they're trying to compensate for it. And like I said, in 2012 when this happened, the internet wasn't set up for it. So sites like LinkedIn, Yelp, Reddit, they all went down. On January 1st because their algorithms couldn't, and a lot of businesses too went down.
So it's like Y2K.
In a sense, in a very small kind of way, but yes, it was kind of like a Y2K thing. So a lot of commerce and business is very opposed to this idea of a leap second. And actually, there's going to be a scientific symposium in Paris later in this upcoming year in 2017, and this is one of the things on the docket for that symposium. They're going to be talking about should they continue to do this or not. Google stepped up, though, this year, and they actually created a new way for everything that's integrated on Google to they created a new form of time, a new way to measure time, just for this day, just for this minute. And it's called smeared time. Actually, it's just for the day, not even the minute. It's called smeared time. So basically, think about it like this. There are 72,000 seconds in a day, okay? So each one is going to be made 14 thousandths of a percent longer on December 31st. So by the
instead
time
of one giant second, they're splitting it up between all the seconds throughout the day.
So therefore, your business or your algorithm that you're using won't be affected by it, especially if you are using Google and stuff like that. It's pretty incredible that, you know, we're looking at it like that. Now, at the symposium next year, if the scientists all get together and they say, you know, leap seconds are dumb, we don't need them anymore, you know, it's an antiquated kind of thing, and they stop doing it, some scientists have formulated that if we leave the leap year idea and just go forward from there, we will actually the Earth will actually go forward in time in the future. If in our relevant idea of what time is, so it kind of blows your mind a little bit, but it's not.
Are we gonna be okay, Jeff?
Yes, we're gonna be fine. It's not like incredible. Here's what they formulated it out to, that if we lose the leap second and not continue, because sometimes it's not an added second, it's a loss of a second. I believe 2005 it was a loss of a second. We lost a second.
Oh, weird.
Because our rotation sped up a little bit.
Get your shit together, time.
Right. But we could be 3 minutes in the future by the year 2100, and we could be a half an hour in the future by the year 2700 if we don't continue to deal with a leap second mentality. So it's kind of weird, but
I have a question for you, Jeff.
What's that?
What are you going to do during your extra second this year?
Swear.
That's what I was thinking.
going to swear at the top of my lungs.
All right, so we got to find like a really populated place with tons of kids.
Yes.
Like it's got to be super inappropriate.
Yes.
And just swear.
Yes.
Really loud.
Just for that second.
Like a really bad one.
Yeah.
And just didn't count.
Yeah, didn't count. That second didn't even exist.
We're clean.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So everybody cherish your extra second you get at the end of this year. Although I know a lot of people are probably thinking, "Oh man, 2016, like just leave already," and they're giving us an extra second.
Oh no.
What fuels you?
So, what fuels us this week? We have a pretty cool guest that we're going to talk to later on in the show, and something that we are going to touch on actually is the idea of, I guess it's the overreaching idea of fitting in.
Yep.
You know, of finding your place in the world. I mean, I'm kind of being really prophetic here, but I mean, for serious, like, you know, you wake up every morning and you have a job to do maybe, or you have, you know, goals to achieve or whatever, but everyone is trying to figure out how you fit, you know, in the world at large, in your job, in your family, in your group of friends, in your online community, you know, how do you fit?
And like the human species itself is very tribal.
Yes.
And it's in our DNA to find a place among our tribe and be important within that tribe.
True.
And it's just something that drives us every day. Do I have a place? Is this where I want to be? And do I know my place? Mm-hmm. And it can be tricky.
It can be, you know, I mean, especially when you're thinking about it in a job sense. You know, you get hired at any job. I'm talking any kind of job. You get hired at a job to do a specific job. But, you know, a lot of times it doesn't just end there. You want to find how you can do, obviously, the best at that specific position that you've been hired for, but also become indispensable in that position so you don't lose your job, you know? And that's just one aspect of fitting in, but I mean, it can go to all different types of things in life. It's speaking musically, because we both play in bands, you know, like that's a real easy metaphor, because you play a specific instrument, and that instrument, you have to figure out where does that instrument fit, not only in the band, but in the song, you know, each song that you're writing.
I've always kind of had this theory where a certain type of instrument attracts a certain type of person and a certain type of personality. And you almost see a repeating role, not just with that type of person playing that type of instrument, but what their role is within the band. Like, for an example, I've always thought bassists are almost always like more mellow creatures, and they tend to be it's the backbone of the music.
Totally.
But I find that they tend to be almost like the backbone of the band.
I found that too in a lot of different bands, is that, the bassist is kind of an even keel kind of guy or girl, that kind of just not necessarily just going with the flow, but is very flowing with the infrastructure of what that band is trying to achieve.
And it's always the lead singer with the cocky attitude, right?
You have to, I guess, the best lead singers are some of the cockiest attitudes out there. And, I guess if you want to boil that down.
Do you think that's part of the job?
If you want to boil that down, if you want to be a great front man, you better think you're hot shit, right? Like,
it works, man.
If you're just this meek individual, you're not going to be the greatest front man out there. That's for sure.
And sometimes that works too, but it's like
rare.
Yeah. It's pretty rare. I guess knowing your place is not always going to be like this kind, awesome, great individual. Sometimes you have to be a little bit jagged, rough, maybe a little bit. I don't know. Maybe a little bit of bravado in there.
Well, I think the broader sense of what we're talking about is, you're always looking for how you fit in, but it might not always be exactly what's the easiest or what's the smart play even, like it's how you fit in any situation kind of deals with how you are as a person and how you want to be in that situation. You said something to me off pod that kind of mirrors that, with like the adage of stay in your lane.
Yeah.
And that really resonates when you're trying to find your place in the world. But the other side of that argument is, there are other lanes out there, and you should be, you need to be open to audibles and change, and being able to fit in those areas as well. But staying in your lane, allows you to kind of find your place easier in situations. It's definitely a broad topic, but it is something when we talk about what fuels you, it is something that, I think that everybody deals with on a daily basis. They wake up in the morning, like I said, and you have things to do that day, but you also are trying to fit into that day with whatever intricate circle or broader circle that you are doing in that day, like you are trying to fit your piece into that as best as you possibly can.
Yeah. And part of that is, like you said, jumping out of your lane. You should be always pushing your comfort level. Yeah. If something is not working for you, you're not feeling it. It's perhaps making you depressed, or get out of there.
Yeah.
That's not where you should be. I remember hearing this story. I might miss the mark on this a little bit, but a guy was breaking down an analogy with lobsters because they grow within their shell,
right?
And they get uncomfortable, and it's that uncomfortable feeling that drives them to molt,
right?
And then be able to grow from there.
Right.
So you're not pretty much the idea is that you're not able to grow unless you move away from discomfort.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you said, it's all very vague and broad, but we're talking about mindsets here. They should be vague and broad. It should be a thick paintbrush you can just stroke over any situation with the right mindset.
Yeah. And like I said, the right mindset is to do your best to be the best be the best you can be, not to get too sappy, but it is the truth. Everybody wants to achieve that. So there are ways to do that. So that's cool. That's what fuels us this week.
Oh, yeah.
But we've been talking a little bit about the holidays, from last week into this week. And this episode is going to hit just before the first of the year, which is 2017 is going to be welcomed by all. But these holidays have been pretty great for a little old Death Wish coffee, I think, right?
Well, Death Wish is a great gift. If you have somebody that tends to like coffee, and it's kind of, I don't want to say a gimmicky thing, but it's like, it's the world's strongest coffee.
Yeah.
If you haven't tried this, you kind of got to try it.
Yes.
And I always like to think that with Death Wish specifically, like the logo and the idea and like the gimmick side of it gets you there.
Yeah.
But the coffee seals the deal, man.
Keeps you
Those
coming back.
Delicious beans. And
Yeah.
that dark and it's a really clean roast, and it tastes really good, and it really seals the deal. So that's why I think every holiday season the company does a little bit better, and then a little bit better, and grows a little bit more, because more people are getting this as a gift, getting it, loving it, and then they become fans for life.
So if you're listening to this after all of the holidays have passed us by, and maybe you have a little some of that holiday money from grandma and grandpa, or whoever like would give you a gift card or something, head on over to deathwishcoffee.com and there's still sales going on, and they're going to be going on through the end of the year. And we'll obviously talk about some more stuff and the update later. But it'll be pretty exciting.
And speaking of sales,
that
Valhalla Java mug is coming.
It is. And one thing I've been noticing a lot of you all fans of Death Wish Coffee out there.
I'm sorry, did I say it's coming?
Yeah.
It's here.
It's
Jeff.
here. It's here right now. If you're listening to this, it's here right now.
Oh my God.
But one thing that I've noticed a lot of you guys talking about out there is the availability, because Death Wish Coffee, we do a lot of awesome collectible stuff here in a lot of limited numbers. And just to reiterate, the brand new Valhalla tankard that you see, the nice light brown with the Viking on the front of it, and then also the black and red, the beautiful black and red Deneen Pottery 2017 Death Wish Coffee logo mug. Both of those are the brand new 2017 mugs. I'm not saying that they won't sell out at times, because you guys are awesome and sometimes, make our inventory go down to zero, but they are going to be the ones that are going to be made consistently throughout the year. They're not numbered. They're not limited. So you'll be able to get them all year round, and hopefully even be able to give them as gifts next holiday season.
Oh man, that's a thought. Well, we'll definitely see this Valhalla Java mug fly off the shelf on the first one. So,
totally.
This is just a word of encouragement. They'll be right back. We're still making them. We can only make so many at a time, but we'll keep on bringing them out to you throughout the year.
Totally.
Which I'm really glad we got. In 2016 we had the cherry red one, which was beautiful,
Yes.
and the matte black
Valhalla
Valhalla Java
mug,
mug. But I think we brought it to the next level, and
Yes.
Deneen Pottery brought it to the next level,
Love
man.
them. I love Deneen.
Especially, we're all talking about it. That Valhalla Java tankard,
it looks great.
It's heavy too, and you just feel like you could use it as like a war club to take down your enemies, man.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, that's really great. And like D-Man said, there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming out all through 2017 as well. And also, more episodes of this. I hope you guys are enjoying Fueled by Deathcast. I can't say this enough that we thank you all for listening. And we are on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. We're on Google Music. We're on Podcast Addict. We're on TuneIn Radio.
Podbean.
We're everywhere you listen to podcasts, including deathwishcoffee.com/deathcast, and you can find the latest episode there all the time, as well as you're shopping for all of the awesome coffee products.
We also translate it into Morse code, so if you're picking any of that up, we have that broadcasting all beeps and boops, and then you can listen to it and translate it at home.
So please, if you're digging it, share it with your friends. Like us, on the different iTunes or whatever that you're listening to us on. And you can also ask us stuff. You can, give us ideas to talk about things or ask us about products and stuff. You can reach either of us through any of the Death Wish social media, and just make sure you hashtag it Fueled by Deathcast so we can find that even easier.
And what I'm seeing on Twitter, we saw one of our Death Wish Coffee fans, Tom Bolda, hit up EJ Snyder. Well, that led into reaching out to him, and so now we're putting that together. So stuff like that, you're a part of this podcast as much as we are, and we really, really appreciate any input or anything you guys want to do to help us along. We're a whole big family here, and we'll all make it together.
Totally.
What you listening to?
All right. Well, we haven't gotten to do this in a little bit. It is the end of the year. And I know myself, I like to revisit, albums either through that year, just albums I haven't listened to at the end of the year, because there's so much holiday music everywhere. I need something else to hear.
God, where was I the other day? It was so obnoxious, this Christmas music. It was all like different reiterations. And it was like, how do I get out of here?
Yeah.
It was just driving me out of the store.
Quick story, when I was in college, I actually had a part-time job at Old Navy during the summers and during Christmas break.
Oh my
and
God.
During Christmas break,
I'm so sorry.
well, they would like any retail store, they would always have, their own CD of Christmas music that's specifically for Old Navy or whatever, that had all the commercials on it as well.
Yeah.
We had one CD one year that was nothing but 12 different versions of Jingle Bells sang by different people, and I just wanted to die. Yeah.
Con!
Very nice William Shatner moment right there. So anyway, this week I've been actually listening to this for the last couple weeks. I just can't pull it out of my rotation. A band that's near and dear to me, and it's the farthest thing from holiday music. I've been listening to The Great Southern Trendkill by Pantera. I can't get enough of it. I love all their albums. That's obviously one of the later ones. It's when the band was like really getting some money behind their recordings, and obviously
you could actually hear
touring
the bass
world.
guitar.
Yeah, you could actually hear Rex do what he was born to do. But yeah, I've been pumping that pretty much relentlessly over the last couple weeks.
It must be like the reaction that people like us have when that holiday music comes around the corner, because I've been listening to some more aggressive stuff too. I've been playing a little bit nostalgic Deftones in my car, a little bit of White Pony.
Yeah, I like that album. That's their third album, right? I believe. I think that was their third.
Yeah, because they had the first Adrenaline,
Around the Fur,
and then White Pony. Around the Fur is so good too. I've been
Yeah.
listening to that too. So
Yeah.
aggressive. I love it.
Yeah,
And it
shout
just really drives out Here Comes Santa Claus just right out of the brain.
Shout out to the Deftones. We got the awesome opportunity to see them perform at this year's Riot Fest in Chicago, and one of the coolest performances I've ever gotten to see. I know for a fact. So
Yeah, right before Rob Zombie, right before the Misfits.
before Rob Zombie played all of Astro Creep.
Oh my God, that was
Front
so
to
cool.
back.
I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
that was pretty amazing.
Oh man, that was so much fun.
Super fun.
The Death Wish Death List.
Who died, Jeff?
Oh man, this is the last one we're doing this year. Thank goodness, because 2016 has been pretty hell on taking a lot of people from us. But like I said on previous pods, we like to remember people who have had incredible lives and have given a lot to living just from them being on this earth. And we want to remember them that in memorandum kind of thing. And this week we lost actress Zsa Gabor. She was 99. She lived an incredibly long life. She started her stage career in 1936 in Hungary. She was actually doing beauty pageants at the time. One of her first, she did a lot of movies. She acted in a lot of stuff back in the golden age of Hollywood and stuff like that, Silver Age. But she didn't really star in a lot of stuff. But one of her few starring roles was the iconic Moulin Rouge from 1952, and she played the lead in that. And she was really known for her lavish Hollywood lifestyle. She was basically the Paris Hilton of that era. In fact, she was actually married to Paris's grandfather at one point. She actually had 9 husbands.
Wow.
And he was one of them, yes.
Wow.
She was that.
9 times. Were they mostly like other celebrities and stuff like that?
No, some were.
Just a bunch of suckers.
Yeah. She was definitely outspoken. She was constantly on the late night circuit in the 80s and the 90s. A lot of times on Letterman and Carson and all those guys. She, like I said, 99 years old. She did it. She did everything she ever wanted to do. The only thing is she had said last year, after being in a car crash, I think in 2000 and I want to say 10, maybe even earlier, she was in a car crash, which left her paralyzed from the waist down, and then she lost a leg. They had to amputate a leg because of complications after that, and so she was wheelchair for the last 6 years of her life. And she said,
Oh shit.
Last year she got really sick again last year, and she said that when at the end of this coming year 2016, she was going to move back to Hungary and hopefully live the rest of her life out there, and she never got a chance to do that.
Oh no, she didn't make it.
She didn't make it, but
I'm gonna cry, Jeff.
Oh, I'm sorry. Also this week we lost Paul Peter Porgs, or in the business he was known as PPP. He was 89 and he was a cartoonist. He is best known for his work in the ever-changing Mad magazine. In fact, his first work was the cover of number 106 in 1966, and he went on to do cartoons with the New Yorker and the Saturday Evening Post. I swear to God, if you saw his stuff, you'd recognize it immediately. Very thin-line stuff, but real funny stuff. But he had a crazy life. He was born in 1927 in Vienna, and he spent his entire childhood basically running from the Nazis and the war machine. When he was 13, he wandered the French countryside alone for almost an entire year, just trying to keep ahead of the Nazis. Wow. And he was eventually captured and sent to a juvenile camp in France, and that's where he attended art school. And he actually got out of there with a subsequent degree in art. And then when he made it to America, started to get jobs and did all that.
Did he do like political cartoons and stuff like that?
I mean, not in the same, not a little bit for the New Yorker, but it was always, think more Mad Magazine political cartoons, like a little bit more, tongue in cheek, like lampooning, not like making the statement, kind of like.
Wow, such a serious, severe life.
Yeah,
and then finished it up with crazy cartooning.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool, man.
Pretty cool, very, very cool. So we lost him this week too. Coming up this week in birthdays, though, we have Stan the man himself. Stan Lee is going to turn 94 years old.
When you handed me the sheet and I saw deaths and then I was looking down, I saw Stan. I was like, no, they took him.
No,
they took him.
He's alive and well. He's still making cameos in Marvel movies and he's still writing comic books. I mean, he's still doing it all. So
still making the tours. He was at New York Comic Con this year.
Yep.
That was crazy.
Also this week, Michael Cudlitz, who you might know as Abraham on The Walking Dead, is turning 52. Unfortunately, Abraham died on The Walking Dead.
You sent me a picture of him holding Death Wish the other day, didn't you?
Maybe we'll post that. I don't know.
That's awesome.
And finally, Sir Anthony Hopkins turns 79, although maybe he's older because he might be a robot. I might have spoiled something, maybe not. I don't know. Go watch Westworld, everybody.
Oh, man. It's going to turn into a Westworld conversation now?
No, it's another podcast.
Yeah, we need another hour at least.
Oh,
my God.
Another thing we haven't gotten to do in the last couple weeks is our segment, which we title The Roast. And it's something that, basically grinds our gears. I couldn't think of anything better to talk about this week than New Year's resolutions.
I mean, besides Christmas music, but I think now that you're listening to this, we're past the Christmas music. Yep. We can stop complaining about it now. But New Year's resolutions,
man. I actually did a little digging online because I was like, they bother me too. They totally, it was your idea, but they totally bother me.
If you're gonna make a difference, make it now.
Right.
You could die tomorrow.
I wanted to know where the origin of New Year's resolutions kind of came from, and this is directly true. The Babylonians actually used to make promises to their gods at the start of each year that they would return borrowed objects and pay their debts. And then the Romans began each year by making promises to their god Janus, who the month of January is actually, named from. All of our months are named pretty much from
Janus
Roman gods.
Janus was the two-faced god.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I think it had both a male and female face.
Okay.
I don't know, little
nugget. But I mean, you're totally right, D-Man. Why wait until January 1st to get in shape or put away that money that you need to, save?
This seems like a good idea, returning borrowed objects.
And paying off your debts.
There should be, I guess, one time a year people should be like, oh yeah, I've been holding on to this for too long. I got to bring it back to so-and-so at the so-and-so store.
I guess, but the other side of that is take care of your shit.
Yeah.
I mean, like, why wait until January 1st? Like, if you borrowed something from me on January 2nd and you're waiting until next year to give it back to me because that's your reminder, give me a break, yo. Take care of your shit. Like, you want to be healthier? Start now.
Yeah.
Don't wait until January 1st to go to the gym.
I mean, you obviously know that something's off.
Yeah.
So, like, why wait?
They always say, too, that all the gyms their memberships go up, like, 1,000%.
It's ridiculous because, I mean, my jiu-jitsu school is right next to a YMCA.
Oh, okay.
And, like, right now, there's parking everywhere. It's great. Nobody's going to the gym.
But as soon as July or June or January 2nd.
You got it, buddy. The other J.
Yeah, the other J. I went through all of them. But as soon as January 2nd hits.
Dude, it's packed. I can't find parking anywhere.
Oh, my God.
Anywhere. And it's cold. It's not good.
So
it just seems like the type of people to make New Year's resolutions are the type of people not to keep them. You know, it's just like this. They're part of the fad, and fads don't last.
Right.
That's all it comes down to.
So my New Year's resolution this year will be no New Year's resolutions, and I'm just going to keep trying to be awesome.
My New Year's resolution is to punch anybody in the mouth who's telling me about their New Year's resolution.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to film this all, and we'll put it up on our YouTube channel when we get a YouTube channel. Awesome. Well, we're going to take a short break and listen to this week's update on some cool Death Wish Coffee news.
D-Man's Death Wish Update. Brought to you by Death Wish Coffee.
Hey, if you skip to this part of the podcast, welcome to the podcast.
We know you're out there, but
I caught you.
but we do have some really fun stuff to talk about. This is the week of December 29th. First up, I mean, we mentioned it earlier, but if you're listening to this podcast on the day it came out, December 29th, then you know the Valhalla tankard is here.
It's here. The Warhammer. It's out, man.
God, it's so pretty. It's the prettiest Viking I've ever seen.
I can't wait to see everybody's pictures of it.
Yeah.
Like, I think this will be a lot of people's favorites. I think that big bearded skull, which is actually just, we took our original Death Wish skull and we put a nasty beard on him.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much a reiteration of our original logo. But yeah, man, I can't wait to see that out everywhere. And speaking of mugs, there will be a Valentine's Day mug coming.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, the order has been put out. They are being made right now, and it will be coming in February for sure. And I showed you the design, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's
pretty
so
great.
cool.
They're always great. I love all the designs.
Every time I see, like, Deneen does such a good job. And it's this bear with the eye. I'm not going to talk about it too much, guys.
It's pretty great. And it's funny because the wife and I have a pretty good collection of mugs now, but I mean, not even close to some of you out there. Like, I commend you for the space in your kitchens for all of the mugs, or in your living rooms, for all your collections.
Man, Gail posted a picture today of like her Death Wish.
Yeah, I saw that.
Christmas tree thing.
I saw that.
Wow,
I know.
It's amazing. I'm blown away.
But I always say to my wife Trisha, like, okay, so this is the last mug we're gonna buy. This mug was really cool, but this is the last mug we're gonna get. And then Death Wish comes out with this brand new design, and it's like, well, we got to get that one. But this will be the last one we get, And it's like,
no,
it's
won't.
Tough. They're all so awesome.
Yeah. So we're really excited about that, and also coming in February, we will be releasing. Finally, we've gone through a few different hats, and none that we were fully satisfied with, and we're always trying to concentrate on high quality products.
Yeah.
So we thought, who makes the highest quality baseball hat? So we went to New Era.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and if you saw, Kane posted a picture of his big old melon wearing it. So if you got a giant head, that's proof that it'll fit.
It will fit on a giant head, but it'll also fit on a regular head too. He did post a picture of him, and
we have two different designs.
And you said February.
Yep.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited to get my own. We only got a few samples, and I didn't get my hands on it.
I don't really ever see you in a hat.
No, but I have a bunch of hats.
You do.
I don't know. I think I'm into collecting hats.
I definitely wear hats every day, so I will definitely be
that
rocking
Boba
one
Fett
of them.
hat has seen better days.
Yeah, hey,
it's got a lot of character.
It's tough being a Mandalorian in the world, I guess. I don't know where I was going to go with that, but it's tough. But yeah.
All right. Also coming out at the end of this year, at the end of the month, the survival kit.
Awesome.
Is coming.
Awesome. That was teased a little bit in the email, but yeah, so at the very end of December, you'll be able to start ordering the survival kit again. I love it. If you haven't seen it, there's a nice extensive thing on the blog all about the creation of the survival kit and, the every little piece that's in there, and it's perfect for the camper, the outdoorsman, it's just perfect.
I think you'll be seeing some pretty cool content with that, and also it's one of those things, again, since we're bringing it back, we have a lot more.
Cool.
So even though it might sell out initially, there will be more coming.
Awesome.
So this is something we want to keep around for a little while. Won't be like, oh, I missed it.
Right. So there's a lot to look forward to very early in 2017.
Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, and we'll all talk to you next week.
We now return to Fueled by Deathcast.
All right, we're back, everybody. This week, we got to talk to an incredible musician and an all-around cool motherfucker.
This is one of my idols.
Yeah.
Blasko is a serious bassist. He's played for some really big names, the biggest names in rock and roll. I mean, you look at Rob Zombie, Glenn Danzig,
Ozzy fucking Osbourne.
Oh my God, dude!
Yeah.
So, he also plays with Zakk Wylde.
Yep.
We saw him play. Or were you at that show?
I was not. I had to miss that show, but you did. You got to see him play with
Deathwish
Zakk
was representing
Sabbath.
at Zakk Sabbath
which he plays for, and he also manages with his management, which we get to talk about a little bit too. But we also get to talk to him about how Zakk and himself got in with Deathwish Coffee, and that's really cool. And that's all because of the man, the myth, the legend that is Blasko.
Secret code unlocked. Discount of death.
He's so cool that we're making his name the discount this week.
Yeah, so if you put in Blasko when you're checking out, and this is on specifically anything Valhalla Java, you'll get a nice little secret discount there. I'm not going to tell you, but you find out.
Anything Valhalla Java, and that's BLASKO.
Yeah, don't mess that up because this guy is the man.
Yeah, so sit tight and check out this awesome conversation we got to have with Blasko.
The Fueled by Death guest.
Speaking of the Valhalla Java, you were really instrumental in bringing that to Deathwish Coffee, correct?
Yeah. I think that there was a mutual connection that put me with John Swedish, right? Like, I think that was the initial connection. And, I managed Zakk. And at the time, like, he would always do like these posts, like, Valhalla Java, good morning, like to like, his fans and stuff like on Instagram and Facebook or whatever. And so that was the name that I guess that he always had. Right. So it's kind of one of those things, like whenever someone goes like, whenever a client's like, oh, hey man, like it would be really cool if we had a coffee, and you go, yeah, for sure. But, what does that look like? Is it like, do I call some company and do a white label thing where they send me a bag and we put a sticker on it and we just sell to our fans? Like, it's kind of cheesy. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost one of those things, like anything could be done like that, but it's just always better if you can get someone that's like a proper partner, and this is how that organically came together. So, we put the pieces together, and it kind of just like, it just sort of aligned in the way that the brand of Deathwish was like world's strongest coffee. And then like Zakk's like world's strongest guitar player. And then you kind of put them together, and then he's got his own sort of sub brand under your umbrella. And it all just kind of makes sense. Right. And then the two have sort of morphed into one another in that, like the Super Bowl commercial was all Viking themed and stuff. And like, it's just cool how everything sort of aligned. And now, after the fact, all kind of makes sense and ties into one another. So it's way cool, man. Like, it's great. It's a great relationship.
Totally. We love working with Zakk because like you said, like it is totally, bolstered this brand like we used with the Vikings and all that, and it's a match made in heaven, and it's really interesting to hear that side of the story of how that all came to be as well.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you do manage Zakk Wylde now, but that's not everything that you've done. You are a very accomplished musician as well, and you play with Zakk, not only just managing him, correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's whenever I joined the Ozzy Osbourne band, Zakk was, the guitar player at that time. And granted, we knew each other a little bit before that. But, that's kind of how the connection happened, is that, we built a relationship over, playing in Ozzy's band together. So even though we were friendly, it was, somewhat distant, but then this kind of brought us closer together. And then at that time is whenever I actually started managing bands, is whenever, I kind of started my own little side business doing that. And then fast forward, whatever it was, like, 8 years later or something, he's in the market for a manager, I'm around, we built a relationship, and it just kind of fell into place. So it was cool that way, how it all kind of worked out.
That's really cool. So can you speak a little bit about that? Like being a musician and, putting your blood, sweat, and tears behind, doing that craft. Where was the tipping point where you decided, I want to kind of get into the management side of things as well?
Yeah, well, here's the thing, right? Like I play for other people. Like I help, like every band that I've been in has been the name of the guy, right? Like Glenn Danzig. It's like, Glenn Danzig, Rob Zombie, Ozzy Osbourne. So whenever you're one of those guys, you work when they work, and then whenever they're not working, you're not working. Mm-hmm. So there was as you become older and you have more responsibilities, those gaps between gigs are more, they can become more uncomfortable, financially, and stuff. So it was like the tipping point was the exact moment when I got the Ozzy gig, because I was like, wow, I've reached the pinnacle, right? I've reached the height of where I wanted to go as like a hired gun musician guy, right? Mm-hmm. And then I was like, well, then that's kind of the end of the road, right? Because I don't want to go down from here. Like when Ozzy retires, like I don't want to go beneath that level, right? Like, and there's only so many places to go. Like from Ozzy Osbourne, there's like Metallica and AC/DC, and those gigs seem to be pretty well locked up, at this point. So I was like, well, I better think of something to do in the meantime that isn't bartending or cutting hair, right? Like I better, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying like I'm in the, I love being in music. I love being surrounded by music. It's what I've, my whole life has been, built upon. And so that was the tipping point. I was like, man, I've reached the height. It's lonely up here. I better figure out something to do. So I started managing bands and built, over the course of, I think the last 12 years now, built up a roster of clients and got a staff of people and just very fortunate that, heavy metal and rock and roll has been, paying the bills, very fortunate, very, very fortunate. I don't take that for granted.
That's awesome.
Very, very cool. So can you speak a little bit about when you got into playing? I know you started playing music, in the mid to late 80s in LA. What was it like when you started out?
Man, I once again, very fortunate set of circumstances led me to joining a band very early on. So by the time, I was like 15 years old, I think, when we got a record deal. Wow. And like when I graduated high school, I had already put out 3 records and gone on tours,
That's awesome.
So I was, it was like I said, I got a very early start, and that, that is something that, kind of helped, partially helped forge the way in that I was like, oh, I love this. This is what I have to do for my whole life. Right. Which, then led me, down this path. But yeah, man, it was very, it was fun, man. And it was a really good way to kind of kick things off. And just very, very fortunate that I was able to kind of get that early start and I still know all the band guys. We still talk. The label that we were on is still around, and I still know all those guys and run into them all the time and stuff. So it's been pretty cool, man. I gotta say, like, from the beginning till now, it's been a very fun ride.
How tough was it balancing being like a high school student and also a rock star signed musician? Was that tough getting through that?
Well, rockstar is an extreme term at that point. I mean, like, we were like little just punk rock skater kids, you know what I mean, that played heavy metal music in a garage. So I mean, it wasn't too difficult. Like, we would go to, because we were all in high school, and we would go to school, and then we'd meet up at the drummer's after school, and we would rehearse in his garage, and he would eat his parents' food, and then we would take the bus home, and then we would get up and do it again, yeah, man. I mean, I think I spent more time at his house than my own house, through the 80s, and stuff. But it was an easy balance, really. In hindsight, I know that it might sound like a little challenging, but like it really wasn't.
Yeah, that's cool. When do you feel like you finally transitioned into being like a bona fide rock star? When was that moment?
Man, I still don't even really consider myself one. Like, I feel like I can play that role. Like, I feel like my job is completing the picture for the real rock stars. You know what I mean? Like, I get up there, I play that role. I do the thing that makes the guy whose name is on the ticket look awesome every night and sound awesome every night. And that's my role. So I'm kind of more like rock star for hire.
Well, you're a rock star in my mind, man. I gotta say, you've contributed to some of my favorite music of all time. You mentioned that you got to play with Rob Zombie on Hellbilly Deluxe, and your work with Ozzy. I mean, one of his later albums, Black Rain, which I believe is the first album you did with him, is still one of the ones that is always in my rotation. So
nice.
It's your body of work speaks volumes for what you do, and that's really rad.
Yeah.
And that's cool that like you were saying, what has happened is you are constantly in contact with the people that you've always been with, like you still talk to these people. You kind of created this kind of family atmosphere. And a lot of musicians always talk about that. One thing I'm always curious about, though, is what keeps you going? What fuels you to really continue, playing music? What inspires you to keep going out there and being that gun for hire, like you said?
I mean, at some point, it's just, I mean, it's still fun, I mean, I've been fortunate. I've been really fortunate to play music with people that I really dig, right? Like, I mean, there's a lot of people that play music that are playing music that they don't dig, but there's a paycheck attached to it. Right. So it is what it is. So I feel, for me, like, I'm just in a fortunate situation to where, like, I've been able to play like Danzig and Misfit songs and Rob Zombie and White Zombie songs and Ozzy and Black Sabbath songs. Like, man, like, that's insane. Like, that I've had that opportunity. And so for nothing else, I mean, what keeps it going is that it just keeps happening. Like, as long as I get to play cool music, like, I'm stoked. But, like, I mean, I suppose there would come a time to where, if there was a situation to where I had an opportunity to play uncool music, that would probably be the end of the road for me, where I would just go, like, you know what, maybe I've had a good run, and I can hang it up now, because like I said, I'm fortunate in that I can say that, like, I'm going to play music if I think it's cool, but I'm not in a position to where I have to play music that I don't like or that I don't enjoy. And I'm fortunate. I have a fortunate situation like that.
Very cool. Really quickly, I don't know if this is a fun story or not, but you go by Blasko. I know that's not your Christian given name, but where did that come from? The nickname.
That was from like Rob Zombie's band.
Oh, yeah?
You know, and that was the origin of it because, you know, my name's Rob and his name is Rob, and that wouldn't really work out so well.
Rob 1 and Rob 2.
Yeah, so we kind of all went by pseudonyms at that time period, and it's just one of those things that just kind of stuck. You know, even people that like know me since, you know, high school or before, that, you know me as, you know, Rob and stuff, like a lot of those people don't even call me that anymore. Like that's how much it stuck, you know. So which is kind of interesting, but that's the origin of it.
That's really neat. That's very cool. What musically or management wise, what do you got in store? Is there any projects you're working on now that you can talk about?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, shoot, man, there's just like, you know, with everybody I got, like everyone's working, you know, making a record, getting ready to go on tour. You know, I've got irons in the fire with a bunch of different other projects and stuff. So it's just a constant state of movement. But it's all very exciting. I feel like next year's got a lot of cool stuff that's going to be happening. So, I'm excited.
That's awesome. And just for all the listeners out there, your management company is Mercenary Management, I believe, correct? Am I did I get that right? Awesome. And I know you guys have a pretty extensive catalog of some really incredible acts on that. So congratulations on all your success with that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Anything you want to plug at all before we finish up?
No, I feel like, you know, I mean, just like you can find me, like, I mean, socially, the best place to find me is on my Instagram, which is Blasko1313. And then, I mean, that's really it. I mean, that's sort of my home base in the social sphere.
I love that you have deep love for your cats on your Instagram.
Yes.
That's really cool, man. That's you're a real dude. I like it. I like it, man. And really appreciate you coming on and talking with us and giving us the time. And we're really excited to work with you more in the future through Valhalla Java and hopefully more through the podcast. And if you ever have anything up and coming that's, you know, exciting that you want to get out there, please feel free to get a hold of us, and we can do this again anytime, man.
Yeah, awesome. So when does the podcast launch? Is it launched yet? Or
yeah,
is it
the first episode just hit the internet. We're hitting the ground running. We're lucky enough to be able to talk to some really awesome people, with yourself included. And like we said, it was great to be able to talk to you in this facility, even though we're doing it through the internet. So hopefully someday we can have you come directly to Deathwish HQ and do another episode in person.
Sounds awesome. Thanks, guys.
Awesome, man.
Cool,
thanks
man.
a lot.
Catch you later.
This has been Fueled by Deathcast, a Deathwish Coffee Company podcast production. Thanks for listening.